Welcome everyone to the City Council meeting for Monday, July 10th. If we can have a roll call, Madam Clerk, to establish a quorum.
Terry McClung,
I'm here.
Harry Meyer,
Here.
Melissa Green,
Here.
Autumn Slane,
Here.
Steve Holofield,
Here.
David Avanzino.
Here.
Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we are, first of all, before we start our meeting, we've got a scheduled public hearing for vacating a portion of an alley between Block 5 and 2 of the Riley and Armstrong Survey. Do we have anybody here who would like to speak for or against the issue? No one standing up and coming forward? Ms. Lindblad, are you going to speak on the issue? Okay.
Karen Lindblad, 17 Bond Street. I'm assuming you're thinking of giving this property away, and a lot of the citizens here would like to see you sell this property when you give it away, because it belongs to all of us, and we should get tax money from this so that we can do some of the things we need to do in the city instead of constantly, and it's been going on for quite a few years, just giving these pieces of property away. So I think they should be evaluated by qualified realtors, and people should have to pay for the property if they want it, just like you have to pay for anything else that you buy. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who has comments for or against this vacation? Saying none, going once? All right, the public hearing will now be closed. Thank you for your comments. If I can get a motion to approve the agenda, please.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any additions, corrections, anybody? Hearing none, all in favor of the agenda as submitted, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right. There is one item I forgot to look at it. We're going to be moving item number 1 of new business up under unfinished business. That's the only change to it. Sorry, guys. All right, approval of the agenda. No, I mean approval of the minutes for June 26th.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Get a second?
Second.
All right, Ms. McClung made the motion and Ms. Green second. Any additions, corrections? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. We do have a vacancy on the Planning Commission. If anybody out in TV land or in public would like to put in an application, we have one vacancy there. We still have 2 vacancies on the CAPC position, so if you own a restaurant or a motel, please submit an application if you're interested. Under the hospital, we have 2 vacancies, but we have one nomination. I'd like to nominate Sandy Martin for position 2, and her resume is in your packet.
Okay, we got that last week, so I'd like to go.
Okay.
I'd like to go ahead and nominate Sandy Martin for position 2 on the Hospital Commission.
I'll second.
All right, Ms. Green made motion, and Mr. Myers seconded. Discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
All right, 5-1. Thank you, Sandy, for putting your application in and being of service. We also have 2 vacancies on the cemetery position, cemetery commission. So if you're interested in serving on the cemetery, please let us know.
Butch, do they have a quorum right now?
Yes.
Okay.
I think they do. So, all right, that brings us up to our public comments, and please limit your time to 3 minutes.
Karen Lindblad again. I served 2 years and 7 months on City Council, and lately I've been reading your Robert's Rules of Order that you accepted. And there's a couple of things I thought maybe I should bring up here regarding the chairman of this commission. Because when I watch this commission, I don't see the chairman acting as chairman. I see the chairman making a lot of comments. And what's supposed to be going on here is that the chairman runs the meeting, acknowledges the council people, and the council people talk to each other. And I will remind you, the mayor is not part of the city council. The mayor is the executive, the city council is the legislative. And the mayor cannot even vote on members of the city council when we need new ones. So it says in here for the chairman to keep order, one person is chosen to preside over the meeting. This person enforces the rules and designates who is to speak at any given time. Then when we go back here on another page that I have marked, it says the presiding officer, which in this case would be the mayor, should make every effort to maintain an appearance of impartiality so that members on both sides of any issue can feel confident that they will receive fair treatment. To this end, the chair does not participate in debate on any issue unless he or she gives up the chair until the issue is disposed of, which means that the chair steps down and a substitute chair steps in, and that's when the chair can make comments. And I would like to see this to be corrected with this council so that you all are talking to each other and not constantly to the chair, which is what I'm seeing. And the chair should not be commenting on these things. The other thing I'd like to bring up, I think maybe Steve, you were the one that asked about the water and what, were you being charged for the 60% that we lose? And the finance director said, you're only paying for what goes through your meter. But the city is picking up $300,000 worth of water we're not getting. And every time you eat out, every time you buy anything, or you drink anything in this town, you are paying the city tax. So the citizens are paying for this water that we're losing. And if we took that $300,000 plus the $250,000 on the dangerous roundabout that we don't need, we might be able to finally, for the citizens in this town, be able to fix the water pipe. And that doesn't even include the sewer lines. And I thanked Mr. McClung for his suggestion that the council start working on some kind of a plan, because the citizens here would like to see one. I've lived here since 1970 and really hardly anything's been done. And I appreciated Ms. Slane voting against the water rate being passed and suggesting that you do a half rate. Thank you.
Do we have any other public comments? All right, hearing none, we'll close the public comments section. Oh, we have one letter that we're going to be read. Our clerk will be reading that into the record.
Regarding the new vacating public roads ordinance, we respectfully request that you include something that says reducing or eliminating access to any vacant residential lot is adverse to public interest. This is because many citizens dream of purchasing a lot in Eureka Springs and building a house one day. Limiting even one such legal platted lot from the housing stock deprives the public of one such opportunity. Many original platted streets have been in place for more than 100 years with multiple owners. Please seriously consider preserving the access for future residents and homeowners 20 to 50 years from now. Thank you. John and Sharon Williams, 127 Breezy.
Are there any other comments? All right, anybody from the public? All right, that'll conclude our public comments. First item under unfinished business is ordinance to raise the water rates. Get a motion to discuss?
Motion to discuss.
Second.
All right, Mr. Meyer made the motion, Ms. Green second. Who'd like to lead off?
I
Mr.
make a
Meyer?
motion that we read the ordinance, give the ordinance a number, and read it for passage.
Okay.
We've already given it a number.
Do I hear a second?
We've already given it a number.
Yeah.
You want to take that back and say,
Just
read
wanna
it on
read it.
second reading?
Just read it for passage.
Second reading?
Yeah,
It's already, we already have a number.
That's right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's read it.
You want to restate,
Sorry.
restate your motion?
Suspend the rules and read it.
No, we don't need to suspend the rules. It's just be first time we'll read it.
No, it'll be the second time.
Second.
Oh, second time. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, you're correct. I'm sorry.
Suspend the rules and read this ordinance by title only.
I'll second that.
Ms. Green, did you second that?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. All right, we got a motion and a second to suspend the rules and read by title only. Any further discussion? Mr. McClung?
Well, directly or indirectly, it relates to this, and that is there any kind of report? It's not as in a separate agenda item as far as progress with lining up the people to do the cameras of the water lines.
I'm sorry. I'm having a hard time hearing you speak. a
I'm
little
sorry.
bit.
Yeah, have we had any headway made with the video on the water lines and that?
We're
kind of
still
thing?
getting the price from the Fort Worth or Fort Smith companies, from what I know from last week. I hadn't heard anything more.
Okay.
Any further comments? Okay, motion's been made and seconded. We'll have a roll call.
Autumn Slane,
No.
Steve Holofield,
Yes.
Terry McClung,
Yes.
Melissa Green,
Yes.
David Avanzino,
Yes.
Harry Meyer.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2342, an ordinance amending Chapter 1044, Section 4 of the Municipal Code of the City of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, establishing rates for services rendered by the water facilities of the City of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, and prescribing other matters relating thereto.
All right, need a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve this ordinance on second reading.
Second.
Mr. Meyer made the motion, Ms. Green seconded. Any further discussion? Okay. Hearing none?
David Avanzino,
Yes.
Melissa Green,
Yes.
Harry Meyer,
Yes.
Terry McClung,
Yes.
Autumn Slane,
No.
Steve Holofield.
Yes.
All right. Moving on to our new business, have an ordinance amending the fee structure for the street and alley vacations. It's in your packet. That was discussed our last meeting. Get a motion to discuss.
Motion to discuss ordinance amending fee structures for streets and alley vacations.
Second.
At our last council meeting, we were discussing the cost that was refundable if the vacation was denied or for some reason didn't follow through. and we discussed the cost that it would cost on the city anyway. So that's coming back, and we basically, I think at that time, we, out of the $200 application fee, we elected to have a $100 returned and keep the $100 for the cost that it would cost the city. So, Mr. McClung?
Yeah, excuse me, I need a little bit of clarification on that section 2, where it shall be further amended to make the cost of publishing the public notice. How will you bill the other things, the deed preparation, that can be done by the person or persons through a local lawyer to get that preparation done, and then the reporting fees, they're going to take it and record it, so they're going to pay that direct anyway. The city wouldn't be responsible for doing that. I assume that's what you're referring to. And then, but I'm not sure how you do you just bill them for the public notices that are printed? Is that?
Madam Clerk, you have a
Yeah, so,
response?
so the publications have to happen before it can come back to table. So they can either choose to show me a proof of publication for 2 consecutive weeks that they paid for, or they can reimburse me before their ordinance will go to table.
So you'll have that fee, you'll know what that fee is going to be ahead of
Yeah,
time.
because once they publish it for that second week, they send me an invoice automatically. So, and they'll be able to tell me once I submit it in how much it's going to be. They'll give me an invoice which I can copy and remit to the
So that's-
person who's vacating applicant.
That's prior to the actual printing? No?
That's after the printing.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's not exactly what you had said first, but that you want to charge them before
Before it goes back to table, because
it goes back to the table.
Because the
Okay.
procedure is resolution at the table for public hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Then it gets published for 2 consecutive weeks. Before, and then after those 2 consecutive weeks, they come back to table. Before they could come back to table and have their ordinance presented in their public hearing,
You'll have a check.
they'd need to either show me proof of publication or remit that payment.
I got it.
I think that would be the best process. It's up to you guys, of course.
Yeah, I just needed to have it explained to me because I wasn't sure how your process was going to work. That's all I have.
Any other comments, questions? Mr. McClung?
I'd like to make a motion that we assign this ordinance a number and put it up there for its first reading.
Second.
All right, Mr. McClung made a motion to assign a number and read for first reading, and Mr. Myers seconded. So all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved.
Ordinance number 2343, ordinance amending ordinance number 2203. Whereas ordinance number 2203 returns the application fee of $200 to the property owner seeking to vacate a street or alley if the application is denied. Whereas the city currently pays for the publication cost for an applicant to vacate a street or alley. Whereas the city spends time and effort to process an application to vacate a street or alley and money to publish public notice even when the application is denied. Now therefore be it hereby ordained by the City Council of the City of Eureka Springs, Section 1, Eureka Springs Municipal Code, Title 9, 10, Section 1, vacating streets and alleys shall be amended to a property owner seeking to vacate a street or alley shall have 1/2 the application fee, $100, returned if the application for vacation is denied. Section 2, Eureka Springs Municipal Code, Title 9, Section 1001, shall be further amended to make the cost of publishing the public notice, deed preparation, and deed filings to vacate a street or alley, the expense and responsibility of the applicant. Section 3, all ordinances and parts thereof in conflict herewith are repealed to extent of such conflict.
All right, Mr. McClung?
I'd like to make a motion that we suspend the rules and read this ordinance. No, we don't have to do that. I mean, I make a motion we go ahead and prove it on its first reading. Getting ahead of myself.
I'd second.
And Mr. McClung made a motion to approve the ordinance on the first reading. Mr. Myers seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so moved. All right, that brings us up to, our next item is ordinance to vacate an alley between blocks 5 and 2 of the Riley and Armstrong survey, as per 14-301-302. Motion to discuss.
Motion to discuss.
Second.
All right, Mr. Meyer made the motion, and Ms. Green seconded. This is the alley between,
Nelson's. Nelson's and Rowdy Beaver Den.
yeah, Rowdy Beaver Den and Galleria, I don't know what it's called now, Nelson's building on Spring Street. There's steps that are going down. Rowdy Beaver is built on part of that alley, and so this is, because the building is being sold, they're trying to clean up the deed, and so this will clean that up, because right now it's sitting on city property. And, as the original building that was there was sitting on city property also. So
Are the steps open to the public?
the steps are open to the public, and this is not going over to the steps. This is only the portion that the building is sitting on. We have an applicant, Mr. Don McClung is here, who can explain, I think, if we have any questions on the real estate part of it. So, any further discussion? Get a motion then to put this, sign the number?
I do have a question. Have you surveyed that?
Yeah, you've got a copy of the survey in your packet, should be.
Previous packet,
It would have been in
2 meetings
when
ago.
we got it before.
Oh,
You
When you
received
got
it.
the application.
I can show it to you.
oh, okay.
We don't have it this time, but we've had the survey in the last.
Yeah, all right.
Last application.
Let's see here.
Any thoughts? Your motion?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we assign this ordinance a number and read it into passage.
Second.
All right. Mr. Green made the motion and Mr. Holyfield seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Abstain.
Okay. Any, all those, any objections? All right. So moved.
Assigning ordinance number 2344, an ordinance vacating a portion of an alley between blocks 5 and 2 of the Riley and Armstrong survey, whereas the City Council of Eureka Springs, Arkansas has reviewed the petition of the adjoining landowner to vacate the area defined by the following legal description. A part of the alley lying between blocks 5 and 2 in the Riley and Armstrong survey in the city of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, and being more particularly described as follows: commencing at the southwest corner of Lot 1, Block 5, said point being the point of beginning, thence north 89 degrees, 53 minutes, 43 seconds east, 68.56 feet. Thence south 4 degrees, 7 minutes, 2 seconds west, 12.29 feet. Then south 89 degrees, 27 minutes, 32 seconds west, 67.57 feet. Then north 0 degrees, 28 minutes, 39 seconds west, 12.77 feet to the point of beginning, said described tract containing 0.03 acres more or less and being served by or subject to any right-of-way or easements existing or of record. And whereas Section 14-54-1042 of the Arkansas Code annotated allows the City Council to vacate certain streets. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, that the alley described above is hereby vacated and title is hereby vested in fee simple in the adjoining landowner. Section 2, all ordinances and parts of ordinances in conflict with this ordinance are hereby repealed to the extent of such conflict. Section 3, that in the event of any section, paragraph, subdivision, clause, phrase, or other provision or portion of this ordinance shall be adjudged invalid or unconstitutional, the same shall not affect the validity of this ordinance code section, or chapter as a whole, or any provision, part or provision other than that part so decided to be invalid or unconstitutional, and the remaining provisions of this ordinance code section or chapter shall remain in effect.
All right, get a motion to approve ordinance 2344 on its first reading.
I make a motion to approve ordinance
Second.
2344.
Second.
Mr. Meyer made the motion, Mr. Holyfield? Oh, Mr. Alvenzino seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Abstain?
All right, so moved. Because this is a real estate transaction that is needing to be done, and this building is sitting on the existing, is sitting on that portion of the alley, I entertain a motion to go ahead and read this for assignment number and read it for passage on the second ordinance, second reading.
Motion to suspend the rules and read ordinance number 2344 on its second reading by title only.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second to read it on title 2344 by title only. Any further discussion? Hearing none.
Steve Holofield,
Yes.
Terry McClung,
I abstain.
David Avanzino,
Yes.
Melissa Green,
Yes.
Autumn Slane,
Yes.
Harry Meyer.
Yeah.
Ordinance number 2344, an ordinance vacating a portion of an alley between blocks 5 and 2 of the Riley and Armstrong survey.
All right, get a motion to approve 2344 on the second reading.
I make a motion to approve 2344 on its second reading.
Second.
All right, motion made by Mr. Meyer and Mr. Holyfield, seconded by Mr. Holyfield. Any further discussion? Hearing none.
Harry Meyer,
Yes.
Melissa Green,
Yes.
Steve Holofield,
Yes.
David Avanzino,
Yes.
Terry McClung,
I abstain.
Autumn Slane. Yes.
Make a motion, we suspend the rules and read ordinance 2344 on its third reading by title only.
Second.
All right, motion made by Mr. Meyer and seconded by Mr. Alvenzino.
Melissa Green,
Yes.
Steve Holofield,
Yes.
Harry Meyer,
Yes.
Autumn Slane,
Yes.
David Avanzino,
Yes.
Terry McClung.
I abstain.
Ordinance number 2344, an ordinance vacating a portion of the alley between blocks 5 and 2 of the Riley and Armstrong survey.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules and read ordinance number 2344 by title only on its third and final reading.
Now, I think
Just
we
did.
just need to
need to vote.
approve,
Oh, I
we just need to approve the second reading.
Third.
It's second or third?
Third.
reading.
Third.
Okay.
Okay.
Motion.
I missed it.
Yeah, all right. Get a motion to approve the third reading.
I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance number 2344 on its third and final reading.
A
Second.
second.
Ms. Green made the motion, Mr. Myers seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none.
Terry McClung,
I abstain.
Harry Meyer,
Yes.
Melissa Green,
Yes.
Autumn Slane. Yes. Steve Holofield,
Yes.
David Avanzino.
Yes.
All right. So we got that was third and final reading. If we can get an emergency clause read.
I'll make the motion to approve the emergency clause for ordinance number 2344.
Second.
Mr. Amazino made the motion to approve the emergency clause, and Mr. Holyfield second. Further discussion?
David Avanzino,
Yes.
Melissa Green,
Yes.
Harry Meyer,
Yes.
Terry McClung,
Abstain?
Autumn Slane,
Yes.
Steve Holofield.
Yes.
Emergency clause, section 3, that due to need to consistently apply with all laws and ordinances of the city of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, for the health and safety of the citizens of the city, an emergency is hereby declared to exist, and this ordinance shall take effect upon passage by the Eureka Springs City Council and signing by the Eureka Springs Mayor and City Clerk Treasurer.
All right, thank you, guys. All right, our next item of business is approval of the 2021 legislative audit. I believe you guys all have copies of that. Our wonderful finance director is here too, but if I can get a motion to discuss.
Motion to discuss.
Second?
All right, Ms. Green made motion, Mr. McClung seconded. Would you like to come up and explain the findings and where we are?
Okay, we received our 2021 legislative audit. When you look at the audit, there are three types of findings. They have supplemental findings, which are findings where they just come to us and they say, hey, we saw where you put a $20 check in the wrong place, so we need to move that around. That's not in the report. Then the next stage is reportable findings, which are within the report, and then the most severe is the material weakness. That's the ones that you really want to pay attention to and get them corrected. In our report, if you go to page, it's about the fifth page, because there's page number 3 and then there's the next page. At the top of it says Legislative Joint Audit Committee, Arkansas Legislative Audit Report on Internal Controls. If you look 3/4 of the way down the page, you'll see that paragraph where it lists our material weaknesses. And what the material weaknesses that they have listed are, there's some big numbers in there, but what they have listed those for are, those are accounting where previously it had been decided to record things in a certain way, and then legislative audit came along and said, hey, that's not how we want you to record it. We want you to record it over here. We want you to record it this way. So we had some findings here where previously legislative audit had suggested that these things be changed. There was some opposition from the previous administration, and they did not want to change those. I had several meetings with legislative audit last year towards the end of the year before they left. We came to some really good agreements about how to change these. So hopefully, not hopefully, but they are, next year on our audit, these are going to go away. An example of this is we had the solar project. This was the first year in 2021 that they recorded anything on the solar project. The solar project had been recorded as a debt, but the payments on the solar project had been being recorded as an expense and not being recorded as a payment to a liability to reduce that liability of principal and interest. And previously it had not been wanted to be done that way, but after I talked to them, that's kind of how we decided that we wanted to do it. So that's some of the, like over the last few months, I've kind of told y'all there's a little bit of changes when y'all look at the revenue and expenditures report. That's because of some of these suggestions that they have made and some of the ways that they wanted us to do that. So good news is, number one, good news is there is no money missing. There is no evidence of fraud. There's no evidence of embezzlement. There's nothing like that. It's just that they want us to record some of the things differently than the way they recorded previously. And even though these are big numbers, the solar project was like $500,000. So when you get it recorded in a couple of places wrong, next thing you know, you're up there to a big number. But we have worked really hard with them in the fall, and that was kind of an interesting thing. Was they really did kind of take me under their wing and say, listen, this is how we really want to do this, or how you really need to do this. And so whenever they did send us some of their stuff a month ago, when they gave us our supplemental findings, a lot of the things that they said, hey, go in and change this, when we went in, we had already changed it. And so we were real happy about that. So we're really looking forward to going forward that's not going to be there. If you turn a couple of pages over, this is your reportable findings, and this is just your different departments. And like if you see under the mayor, they put the water department audits under him. We have got the 17 and 18. We're working on the 19 and 20. So we are going to get those getting those caught up. So that's something they just had to find, because you have a year after the year end to start those audits. So that's something that they found there, and you'll see a similar finding was noted in the previous report. Parks and Recs, they had some bank reconciliation issues. They're not real happy with how Parks issues their receipts, and that has to do with the bait shop. It's something in which Parks, that can explain it a little bit better, but it has to do with when they use the credit card and use their Square machines or whatever, it doesn't give a numbered receipt, and they want it to be a sequential numbered receipts. And so that's kind of a battle that we fought back and forth with them. And Scott had looked at it, and he wasn't really sure how to fix it. And so that's going to be something that Sam's going to have to try to figure out. Under mine, it was that or under the finance directors, it was that the bank reconciliations weren't up to date, and the fixed asset listing wasn't up to date. The last fixed asset listing that had been done was 2019, prior to COVID, and they had not updated it since then. So we've already got that. It's already updated. We've already got that updated for this year. We've already taken care of that. The Cemetery Commission had some issues with bank reconciliations, and the CAPC, they purchased a piece of equipment and didn't solicit bids for it. And that's their findings. Yes, ma'am.
Question. When do you anticipate the audits for
Can you
the city?
speak up a little bit?
Yes. When do you anticipate the audits for the city water and waste department?
Okay.
For those?
You have two audits that they're working on for us, and one is the water and sewer, and the other is called our single audit. And our single audit is if the city receives over $750,000 in federal funds, they have to come in and audit those funds to make sure that what we got the money for, that's what we used it for. So they have issued the water and sewer audit for 17 and 18, and we're finalizing the 18 single audit right now. We got them the very last of their things just a couple of weeks ago, so they're going to issue that. Then as soon as they issue that, then they're going to start on the 19 and the 20. The thing is I know these have been really drawn out, but that's because there were some issues on getting documents and everything to them previously. We have been staying on it, and everything that they're requesting from us, we're getting it to them that day or the very next morning. So these audits are going to go a lot faster than the previous audits did, because there was a lot of, there was some lost files, there were some files that got taken over there that they didn't know where they were at, then they found them, and just some things like that. So we had some issues with the previous, with how the audit was handled, as far as like getting the documents back and forth. We are working, I've had conference calls with Forvis, because BK&D is now Forvis, and they're going to give us better attention, because they kind of put us on the back burner, because they kind of felt like that we put them on the back burner, and getting them the documentation when they would ask for something, it would go a couple of months before they would hear back. So they just kind of, well, if they're not going to get to it, then we're not going to get to it. But we've shown them that it's going to be different now, and so they send us an email, we send it right back with the answer. And so I had a really good conference call with them a couple of weeks ago, and so I think we have to have them done by July of next year. We've got to be caught up by July of next year, so they're going to have to be done by then.
So with this audit, is it just financial, or is it are they auditing anything that's coming, like that we're charging our customer and where that money's going?
No, what this is all about is it's all about your water payments, your AP,
Okay.
What you're getting in as revenue, but it's not a rate study. It's not anything to do with
that.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
not anything to do with a rate study. It's just legislative audit does not audit the water and sewer fund, so that's why we have to get this separate one. But it's similar to what we give them in legislative audit as far as they'll be looking at all the AP checks that we have looked at. They'll look at all of our payroll, all of our capital expenditures, those kind of things is what they look at.
Okay. And then is the city water and waste department, do they have a CPA or does that go through you?
It's through my department, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
It's through our department.
What about the cemetery? I can't remember what that.
Cemetery has their own.
Okay, they do their
Cemetery
own.
has their
Okay.
own, Parks has their own, and CAPC has their own.
Okay.
We only do the ones for the city and
Is
water.
there a reason for that? Or,
Because they're commissions and they're not departments.
gotcha, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Mr. McClung?
I'll let Harry go ahead.
The reason that we have to hire a separate audit for the water and sewer is because it's operated as a business, is that true? On its own. We should not take other funds from the city treasurer and
Right.
spend them on the water and
It's
sewer.
supposed to be self-sustaining and take care of itself.
That's why it's important to have the rates where we can.
Yes.
Ms. Green? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. McClung, did you have?
I'm just,
Okay.
I'll wait.
Okay.
Michael, wasn't that water stuff covered in that class we were supposed to take, that we were by law had to take and pass? That's, a lot of that was in there.
On the class that y'all had to sit through, yeah, I believe
Yes,
so.
yes. And did all of our people take that class?
I don't know, that's,
I'm not sure. Has everybody, I know
Yes, I
David
did.
had.
Yeah.
Okay. Autumn, y'all took it, and Harry, so we should be good.
I'm waiting.
And, yeah, Harry and Terry are waived on there, as I am too, so we've got everybody covered
How did
there.
they get waived? Well, no, I've been here longer than Harry. I had to take it.
Well,
Even if you are waived, it's a really good class.
Yeah, it is. That's a good class.
Mr. McClung,
Do we need a voice vote of approval? Is that-
we just need a motion to approve the audit as
I'd like to make a
submitted.
motion that we approve the audit as presented by the state.
Second.
Okay, discussion?
Yes, discussion, please. So from what I heard you say, commissions, we have no control over what they say these commissions have done. I'm not going to say wrong, but deficiencies. So how do we
to my
address
knowledge, we
that?
don't. You can ask them to come, like last year, we had them come before council, and you can ask them, because one of the things that we have to do, like if you'll see, like on the material week in this one, if you'll see kind of up at the top of the page, it says the mayor and the finance director concurred with the above recommendations and have approved the appropriate adjustments to the city's financial records. And they make us submit a report back to them of how we're going to fix these things. And then they have to accept what we say of what we're going to fix. So the mayor answered his and I answered all of mine. The commissions had to answer theirs also. Back to legislative audit to say how they were going to fix things, so that you can bring them before council to talk to them to find out how they are going to fix it or how they're going to handle it. But it's not at the direction of my office.
It's not uncommon for the council to ask for one of the commissions, the CAPC or the Parks or the Cemetery Commission, to come before us and respond on how they've asked this. But they have to go through the legislative audit and tell them also the same thing, how they're going to respond and how they're going to fix it.
And do we get their responses to the legislative audit as well on what they're doing to
We
address
do
these
not
issues?
get those responses. That's something that's between the commission and legislative audit.
But it is in our authority to have
We can have them,
commissions.
yes, if the council wants to I mean, we can still go ahead and approve this if the council wants and still have the, auditorium, the CAPC, the parks, and/or the cemetery come before us if you want.
I think it's a good idea to have them at least once a month give us a status where you are present for any guidance that may be needed.
Okay. Of course, right now, we've got a motion for us
Yes.
to approve this, but Mr.
Yeah,
Myers?
we should get regular financials from them for sure.
We do get regular
do.
financials.
We do.
We get those on a quarterly basis
Yeah.
on there, but that doesn't address the issues right here.
Right.
Right. The good thing to look at when you look at these is once again, they're not saying that any money's missing or anything that's been inappropriate. These are some procedural things that they're wanting, like the bank recs, they're wanting them done a certain way, just some kind of issues like that. Overall, they're finding the books are okay, that there's nothing wrong with the books and that there's no money missing or anything like that, which is the main thing. These are just some procedural things that they want done differently. So.
Mr. McClung, did you have a question? Okay. Did that answer your question, Mr.
Yes,
Alexander?
thank you.
Okay. We do have a motion on the table and a second, I think, to approve the audit as submitted. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved.
And just to let you know how excited we are about this, they called me last Friday. They will be here next Monday to start this year's. So we just got this 2 weeks ago, and they're already ready to come back to start 22.
Well, everybody
So
loves Eureka.
they'll be here July 30th and be here for about 3 months. So,
They love us so much.
yeah.
Jeez.
Thank you, Michael. All right, next item of business is ordinance to amend the tree preservation code as submitted by the Planning Commission.
Motion to discuss.
Second?
Second.
All right, Mr. Overfield, second, and Ms. Green. In your packet, you'll have two ordinances. They're both the same. One of them is new items that they're suggesting to change has been underlined, and/or if there's items in there that has been stricken, there'll be a line through that item. The other one is just a clean ordinance for your information. So it's easier, I think, for us to see what's been added, what's been changed. So that gives us a deal. And I noticed Ms. Harmon, the chairman of the Planning Commission, is here, so if we got any questions, we can, or the council may want to have a workshop and go through this. Because it is kind of lengthy. There's quite a bit to it. Mr. McClung?
I'm all for that idea, actually, a workshop, because I think it's a little complicated. I mean, this is my first look at it. And I don't know what was really wrong with what we had, unless maybe some of it wasn't being enforced. And so I think it would be good to have that workshop with Planning Commission so we can get explanations on why things are being done. So I'm for that idea.
Make a motion.
I make a motion that we set up a workshop with the Planning Commission regarding the tree ordinance.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion by Ms. McClung, second by Ms. Green. Further discussion? The rest of the council kind of go along with that same concept? All right, I will have Kim set that up. The motion passes. So all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I will have Ms. Kim set up times between council and planning commission. So we can go through this, because I think that's a good thing to do too. So, all right. Well, that one went by quick. So agenda setting, I think from what I'm hearing, does council like to have a couple of the commissions come in and explain what happened on that?
Yes, I would like to put that on the agenda, at least for, 1, 2, 3, 4 commissions?
3, I think, for
3.
Parks, Cemetery,
Park,
and
Cemetery, CAPC. At least have them come once a month to give us, an update, a financial update. I'm a little concerned that some things weren't done correctly, and I'd like to nip them in the bud before they even happen.
Well, let's have, what I would like to, it's just my suggestion, is to go ahead and just have them come through and explain how they're addressing their findings.
Okay.
And then at that point, we can see what we want to do, how the council wants to handle it from there. Because we do get their quarterly reports, but still, we can see where they are with what they're handling on the findings, if that's okay. We'll put that on the agenda. All right, Mr. McClung?
I would like to just be provided an update. I don't know, necessarily has to be an agenda item unless we decide to go ahead. And I think we talked about keeping the water on the agenda, even though this ordinance is going through.
Okay.
On every meeting basis, so we can have continuous updates on what's going on, whether it be
I'll talk with...
the video inspections plus whatever water leaks are repaired.
Okay.
I think it'd be good to provide us a list of that.
I'll
even.
talk to our water director, Public Works.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah, Simon, get him up here. Okay. Anybody else?
I would like to add the band shell update.
That's going to be through Parks, so we can go ahead and have
Okay.
that from Parks while they're here.
Perfect.
I know they have, I think you've got a copy of their report.
Who?
Did the council
band
get a
shell?
copy of the report from the
Not
engineers?
seen it, no.
Got
Yeah,
pictures.
Yeah, lots of pictures.
I think we all
The
got
last
an
time.
email from McClellan that
Yes.
stated everything that was wrong and needed to be repaired.
I did.
Because I remember seeing everyone copied in.
We should have had a report from
Yeah.
the McClellan.
It was several pages long.
I didn't get it.
Yeah,
I didn't either.
we'll send that back out to you on there. And then we'll have, go ahead and have Parks address that when they come back. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, that comes up to city council comments. I'm going to start with Mr. Alvanzino.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to Sam and the Parks Department for the 4th of July celebration. I unfortunately was not able to go, but I saw tons of pictures, got lots of emails from constituents that were very, very pleased about what happened. So props to Sam and his department and everybody that pitched in and helped.
CAPC workshop this Wednesday at 5 o'clock.
You might be able to ask them also on their findings while we're at it. Okay, Ms. Green?
I'd like to give a shout out to Parks, and also the CAPC was involved. I know many of the city staff went and helped, and so a real big shout out for them. Big shout out for Jacob and Simon for being such good sports. I wanted to go and hire a ringer so that they really got wet, but I heard that they did. So that was good enough for me, and that's all.
Ms. Swain?
No comment tonight.
Mr. Meyer?
Well, yes, the park celebration was good, except for didn't get to dunk one person. They said the dog water was too dirty for them to get there. But that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, it was still good. I dunked the other two guys, and I cheated.
I don't see you getting in.
Yeah. Next year, Harry.
All right, no comment.
Sorry.
All right, Mr. McClung?
I also want to thank Sam and Juanita for pulling off a big deal out of Leatherwood this year. It's, I think they've learned a lot from it and, new ideas, and I think next year will be even better. So looking forward to it.
I have to go along with everybody else. Kudos to Sam and Parks Commission and Juanita and everybody, Susan, who was involved with the putting it all together. It took a lot of people. When I was out there, and I had to leave before the fireworks went off, but there were just more people were coming in constantly. And I know I heard nothing but positive things about it, and especially the fireworks and some of the photographs just look spectacular. So I'm real happy that it came off as well as they did. And the Parks Commission and CAPC, thank you all very much for helping put this thing together. Speaking of which, speaking of kudos, we're always getting compliments and announcements from a lot of different magazines. We received a nice acknowledgement from the Best of Arkansas in 2023. Eureka Springs is the winner of the best weekend getaway in Arkansas. Other finalists in there was Petty Jean State Park, Cherokee Casino and Hotel in Siloam Springs, Oaklawn Racing, and Buffalo National River. So for us to get the Best of Arkansas, I think that was, congratulations, Eureka Springs. You did a great job. Opera of the Ozarks 2023 season's kicked off with a lot of success. We got performances that run daily through July 21st. If you haven't attended one of the opera performances, they just have great professional staff out there. And I don't know much about opera at all, but I do know that it's really enjoyable and it's entertaining, even for this hillbilly. So if you get a chance, they've got Aaron Copeland's The Tender Land is out there, and so you get a chance to go out and watch that. Also, another thing that I get excited about is the Arkansas Music Works Brass Band is going to be in concert at the auditorium on July 21st at 7 p.m. This is directed by the United States Air Force Band Associate Conductor Captain Brandon Holtz. The Muscle Work Band will be performing brass band classics as well as premiering new works by Philip Harper. This is a free concert, so everybody's encouraged to come and enjoy. It's just a great performance. If you haven't heard them, they played here, I think, a couple of years ago. They're just not to be missed. If you like brass music, they're outstanding. Also, this weekend, on Friday, the Highlander room, or used to be the lunchroom, cafeteria room up at the community center of the old high school, the old school, has been converted into a museum for Eureka Springs art. And they're having an open house between 5 and 7 this Friday. And so they're taking that space up there and converting it into an art gallery for Eureka Springs Eureka Springs Museum of Art. So that's kind of exciting. So if you get a chance next Friday between 5 and 7, show up through there and see what they're planning on doing. Other than that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Get a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, guys.